I first saw Jesse Amado's artwork right here at the Empire Theater, and it was backstage, and it was about like 10 minutes ago, and he showed me on the phone, he showed me some of his artwork, but anyway, it looked pretty interesting. But no, I've been a big fanboy of Jesse's since 1995 when he showed at Art Pace, and he's definitely one of the creme de la creme of San Antonio artists. He's a local, and he was born and raised here, and he received his master's degree from UTSA in 1990. He's a very well-collected artist in private and public collections, including the Smithsonian Museum of American Art and the Houston Museum of Fine Arts. His work is described as conceptually based and highly formal. It occupies the minimal space that hovers between life and art. New projects are combined with seminal pieces from the past, tracing the artist's investigation of text, repetition, and communication. And I guess I'll just shut up and let him tell you more. So it's my extreme pleasure to introduce a friend of mine, Jesse Amado.
Sorry, but no, first of all, bienvenidos. But I had to pause and take a good look, because as a boy, I used to come to this theater and go to the movies. For 25 cents, you could get a double feature on a weekend. If you brought $1, you'd have some money left over to go across the street and buy a hot dog at Coney Island, chips and soda, and you still had money when you would walk home, because I grew up in what is now called Southtown, and just off South Flores, South Alamo. And so I used to walk a lot. And I think I was subconsciously learning how to be an observer by doing that. And so today I still walk, and I still observe, and I still look at things intently. Since my game is culture, as a visual artist, I have to look hard a lot. Anyway, let me get this thing started. Oh, look, he's entangled in the cable now. All right. Okay, so what happened? All right, so this was, okay, I want to tell about myself a little bit and about the creative process. And when I was this age, 18, I decided to become a sailor. So I learned how to, okay, this happened when I was walking along, and then this is what happens when you put your phone in your pocket and it accidentally activates it. This is also a photo from my pocket photos that I call. And so, 20 seconds is just not enough. 400 seconds to tell a whole story. So I'm walking along, and here's this, blue jay, and that's what happens when you start to walk and observe. And I like looking at the ground rather than a screen anyway. And so I still take these walks, and I'm observing and seeing what's there to influence me. This was taken in Berlin, and that's Lupita. Now, Lupita is a Chula Squinkle, Mexican hairless, and she's a great dog, and I met her there in Berlin. Beautiful green spaces in Berlin everywhere. Every neighborhood has a green space. I wish we were like that. So it's really beautiful. There I am, I've arrived, and this was taken in Berlin, and I was there for art residency that the Blue Star Art Center sponsors every year, and so I started my 3-month residency there and got to experience Berlin once again. And this is one of the pieces that I was engaged in making there. I was there during the election, the 2016 election, and so I started incorporating like a lint, like a hangman's noose, just because I was, they were talking about my people in a really, really bad way. And then I had to show the work that I made there, and I had Alexandra help me, and she performed. She and I put together a performance, and she was the main performer. And I used calla lilies as a focus for the work. And what she did was she removed the calla lilies from the vase and cut their stems off. I've done this before. You know, the lilies, the calla lilies of Diego Rivera. And I took them to Omaha, Nebraska once and did this very same thing. But I took 100 of them and did that. One of the characteristics of art is the transformative quality of it. And so you can take something and transform it into something else. John Lennon said it best, give me a tuber and I'll make art out of it. And so this is what I do. I look for different materials that will carry something. For instance, on my walks through Brackenridge Park, I encountered this. It looks like a beautiful abstract expressionistic painting. But in fact, it's the poop from the vultures that hang out there. And this was hung on the fence, the chain link fence. Walking along, it got a little bit better. And so you see these kind of things, you know, throughout the city, really. I love walking around the city. I love nature. I love being around natural things and just seeing what nature has to contribute. I did this piece not too long ago, a couple of months ago. I do these letters, stack the letters together and make a form out of them. And this one is called Beautiful Wall, and the title of the piece is called He Calls It a Beautiful Wall. And so I was just trying to reclaim the word beautiful, because someone uses it way too much. I did this piece. These are some of my works that I made for the Brownsville Museum of Art. There's one artist here for sure that was part of this show. And so this is the latest material, felt. It's carpeting, lots of great colors. And then I'll go back a little bit and say that for 25 years I worked for the San Antonio City Fire Department. And so I saved lives and property. But it was a great job. I never regretted it. It gave me the time to become an artist, to have actually a career as an artist. And this is the old fire station, and it's now the Battalion Restaurant. And I've gone there several times, and anybody that'll listen, I'll tell them how many times, the thousands of times that I slid down that pole, which is still there. So time goes on. This is my nephew, and we were trying to, locate our house. We both live in Government Hill, but as a young man, I grew up in the Hemisphere area. It was called Goliath Street at the time. And it's interesting to go back there and relive all of that, and just remember that those times. And this is a memorial that I designed for the fire department. It has all the names listed of the people, of the firefighters that died while on duty. The upside-down helmet that's tossed out the window. Okay, we're going to end it with El Jesse Amado. That will lead straight into the next image, and that's the image of a painted of me. That was made by Cruz Ortiz. And it sort of bookends the whole thing. You saw me at 18, and now you see me here in my 60s. And so this is in a collection here in town, at the Ruby City Museum. And so this is kind of how it all ends, being an artist and, what the creative process is like and the things you try to engage yourself in. So thank you for coming. I appreciate it.
You just gave us a taste of your artwork. This is I want to go on a walk with you someday, because I certainly miss a lot. But you tell me about your use of materials. You were always growing. You were always like experimenting, even where some of us rest on our laurels at our ripe old age. But I was wondering how you do you start with an idea, and then do you imagine the materials that you want to use, or do you get hooked on the materials and then go to where it takes you?
It actually happens both ways, but most of the time it happens with the concept. That comes first, the idea, and then I look for the material, the media that'll carry that, that meaning best. So that's kind of how I work. It takes a while. Yeah. It's a process.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of play involved. So you're playing in the studio and, play, creativity, same thing. Freud wrote articles about that. Mm-hmm. So you get into the studio and you start becoming engaged in the process, and things like that happen. Sometimes it's the mistake.
I think you're probably too modest to tell us about you're dealing with the issue of beauty all the time. As long as I've known you, you've done a lot of. You're a very stylish person. It goes through every portion of your life. You've done very profound conceptual art pieces that had to do with our idea of beauty. Do you want to just expound on that a minute?
Sure. Ambiguity is a big part of the work. And the best way to get someone involved or interested in something ambiguous is to make something beautiful, so that there's a seduction that happens. You see the work, you might want to stop and take a closer look, and as you get closer, the title will usually give you a clue as to what the work's about. And then the discussion can happen, at that point. Uh-huh. And I prefer it when the audience, the spectator, completes the work with their experiences.
And where can we see your work?
Huh?
Where can we see your work?
Oh, I show with the Reese Healy.
Yes.
Art.
Tell them where it is.
Gallery. It's
like
on
pulling teeth here.
Almas Drive.
Yes. And you have a show coming up at all?
In January, she recently acquired a space in New York City, so I'm showing there, and also here in January. And I'm showing along with Alejandro Diaz.
Oh,
I know some
very
of
cool.
you know him.
Very cool.
Sala Diaz. He was the originator of Sala Diaz. So we're going to be showing together. And we hadn't shown, I don't know how many, 20 years or so in Omaha.
Great. Well, what a thrill. Anyway, my friend Jesse Amado.
Thank you.